In the year 2000, two men walked into a room. One of them ran the most powerful entertainment company in America. 9,000 stores, 60 million customers, and nearly $6 billion in annual revenue. The other, a struggling startup founder who was quietly going broke. That founder asked for $50 million. The powerful man laughed at him. Today, that startup is worth over $200 billion. And that powerful empire? It doesn't exist anymore. This is the story of the most expensive no in business history. To understand how badly Blockbuster failed, you first need to understand just how powerful it was. In the 1990s, Blockbuster wasn't just a video rental store. It was a cultural institution. Every Friday night, millions of American families made the same pilgrimage. Pile into the car, drive to the nearest Blockbuster, spend 20 minutes arguing over what to watch, and walk out with a VHS tape and a bag of microwave popcorn. At its absolute peak, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores across the world. It employed 60,000 people. It was opening a new store every 17 hours. The CEO at the time, a man named John Antioco, was considered a genius. Wall Street loved him, the press called him a visionary, and the money? Blockbuster was making obscene amounts of it. In the year 2000 alone, the company collected nearly $800 million just from late fees. That's right, late fees. The thing customers hated most about Blockbuster was also one of its biggest revenue streams. Every time you forgot to return a tape, Blockbuster charged you $1 a day. It was infuriating. And it was incredibly profitable. Blockbuster was untouchable, invincible. At least, that's what they thought.
Meanwhile, in 1997, two guys in California were having a very different kind of business meeting. Reed Hastings and Marc Randolph had an idea. What if you could rent DVDs by mail? No store, no late fees. Just pick what you want online, and it shows up at your door a few days later. They called it Netflix. The concept was simple. The execution, much harder. In the early days, Netflix was hemorrhaging money. The dot-com bubble had just burst. Investors were spooked. The company was burning through cash faster than it could earn it. Hastings and Randolph needed a lifeline. So they hatched a plan. They would approach the biggest player in the industry, Blockbuster, and offer to sell the whole company for $50 million. It seemed like a fair deal. Blockbuster would get an online presence. Netflix would get the financial backing to survive. Simple, right? In September of 2000, Reed Hastings and Marc Randolph flew to Dallas, Texas to meet with John Antioco at Blockbuster's headquarters. Netflix's CFO Barry McCarthy was there too. He later described the meeting in detail. Hastings laid out the pitch clearly. Blockbuster buys Netflix. Netflix handles the online rental business. Blockbuster keeps running the stores. Together, they dominate both worlds. It was a genuinely smart proposal. Antioco's response? He laughed. Not a polite, business-like smile. According to Marc Randolph, the Blockbuster executives were, and I'm quoting here, fighting to suppress laughter. Antioco saw Netflix as a niche business, a novelty for tech early adopters, not a real threat. He reportedly told them the dot-com hysteria was completely overblown and sent them home. The Netflix team flew back to California humiliated. Their $50 million offer had been rejected like a bad joke. And for a moment, it looked like Antioco might have been right. But he wasn't.
Here's the thing about Blockbuster's business model that nobody talks about enough. It was built on punishing customers. That $800 million in late fees, it came from frustrated, annoyed people who felt trapped by a system designed to extract money from them. Netflix did the opposite. Flat monthly fee, no late fees, no pressure, no guilt. Customers who were sick of being nickel and dimed by Blockbuster flocked to Netflix. Reed Hastings has even said he started Netflix partly because he was personally furious about a $40 Blockbuster late fee he'd been charged for a copy of Apollo 13. By the mid-2000s, Netflix had millions of subscribers, and Blockbuster was finally starting to worry. To their credit, Blockbuster CEO Antioco actually tried to adapt. He launched a competing service called Blockbuster Total Access in 2006, and it worked. Brilliantly, in fact. Netflix started losing subscribers for the first time. Internally, Netflix executives were panicking. Hastings himself later admitted, if it hadn't been for their debt, they could have killed us. Read that again. Blockbuster was about to beat Netflix. But then something extraordinary happened, and it had nothing to do with streaming.
Enter Carl Icahn. Icahn is one of the most feared activist investors on Wall Street. His strategy is simple. Buy a large stake in a struggling company, force his way onto the board, and demand changes that boost the stock price in the short term, even if they destroy the company long term. In 2004, Icahn bought a newly 10% stake in Blockbuster. He hated what Antioco was doing. Getting rid of late fees? Investing in an online platform? That was money flying out the door, in Icahn's view. He wanted profits. Now. The two men went to war. Icahn fought Antioco on everything. He pushed back against Blockbuster Total Access. He campaigned to reinstate the late fees that customers despised. He eventually led a shareholder revolt over Antioco's $7.6 million bonus and got him fired in 2007. The new CEO? A former 7-Eleven executive named Jim Keyes, who had little experience in entertainment and who famously said in a 2008 interview, "I don't see Netflix as a threat." Under Keyes, Blockbuster abandoned its online strategy. It refocused on brick-and-mortar stores. It even brought back the late fees. Meanwhile, Netflix launched video streaming in 2007. Broadband internet was becoming mainstream. The world was changing. And Blockbuster, weighed down by $1.4 billion in debt and led by people who couldn't see what was coming, had no way to keep up. In 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. Carl Icahn later called his investment in Blockbuster the worst decision he ever made. And Antioco, the CEO who had actually been trying to save the company, he sold his Blockbuster shares when he left in 2007. You'll never guess what he invested the money in. Netflix. Today, there is exactly one Blockbuster store left on the entire planet. It's in Bend, Oregon. It's become a tourist attraction. People take selfies outside it. Netflix, the company that was laughed out of a Dallas boardroom, now has over 300 million subscribers worldwide and is one of the most powerful entertainment companies in history. But here's the uncomfortable lesson that this story teaches us. Blockbuster didn't fail because they were stupid. Antioco was smart. His strategy was working. Blockbuster failed because the people with short-term financial interests, the investors, the shareholders, couldn't see past the next quarter's profit. They killed the man who was trying to save the company because saving it required spending money today to survive tomorrow. It's a story that happens over and over in business. Kodak invented the digital camera and buried it. Nokia owned mobile phones and missed smartphones. Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix and instead chose to laugh. The question isn't whether disruption is coming. It always is. The question is, when someone shows you the future and it scares you, do you lean in or do you laugh?